I'm your host, Robert Wilson with Cowboy Wisdom Hypno Acuity. Tonight we're talking about 7 ways why management's verbosity lowers morale and profits. Verbosity is my new word. That's the way management and bosses speak and express the words through the corridors of the offices, talking about the workforce, good, bad, or indifferent. Because management is very apprehensive about to admit they cause the challenges and the chaos within their company. It's because of their policies and procedures, but also the workers have theirs, but management's always looking at the workforce for their challenges, as they are the challenges of their company. And when a management speaks through their snapshots, and what a snapshot is, that's the picture you take when you first meet somebody, good, bad, or indifferent. When you meet them, you set forth a picture in your mind and with all the words and everything. So that snapshot is the way you look at people. And people never allow people to get out of that snapshot. And if you take a snapshot of somebody and you think they're bad for their life until you address that snapshot within yourself. And the management usually has kind of a pessimistic power towards the workforce, because they're always looking at the workforce as what's wrong rather than being grateful. And every workforce has got people that should be let go. I worked many a jobs but a lot of times the people that they really management should let go are their pets, or I call them suckasses. And that way they keep a hold of them. And the pessimistic power of the management is the workforce is never good enough or fast enough. But yet they're working with their tools, equipment, and they're within their procedures and structures. And a pessimistic power breaks down and stops open communication, as the egotistical arrogance in management creates an environment where open communication is stifled or stopped. But it becomes a pessimistic way because they're instantly looking for what is wrong with the workers rather than the good they're putting forth. You know, here's something I want to ask all the managers, business, and everybody: would you work for you? Because what I've witnessed a lot in my life is management creates the challenges. And management, when it comes to spending $400 or $500 to get a tool or a piece of equipment out there to do something that went awry, the management says no. So we watch management spend $2,000 to do what a $500 tool would have took in a day. Management sometimes is their own worst enemy, just like we are in our own lives. But egotistical arrogance creates an environment where people become stifled, and then they start grouping up and start talking about the management. And as I look forward and forth on this, the leadership of a company causes their own challenges because they're unwilling to communicate. And as soon as that arrogance comes out there, the workforce understands the arrogance. And that arrogance instantly discourages the employees from sharing ideas and concerns, or even giving feedback that would help the company. Because a lot of times they ask for feedback and ideas. Then when you give it to them, management goes into their egotistical arrogance and know-it-all nothingness. And then they start making fun of it so people shut up. They'd rather see a company fall flat on its face in disgrace than help them. I've witnessed that many times. And the breakdown in communication leads to misunderstandings, unresolved issues, lack of collaboration, ultimately just hindering the organization's overall performances and growth. I witnessed a lot of time where the management really had a negative outlook towards the workers, but they had this "I'm better than thou" attitude. And overall, what happens is out in the field, the workers start congregating, and they actually start plotting against the ownership and the lead and the management. I've seen that a lot. And an arrogant attitude by the management fosters a negative culture, because when management speaks negatively about the company, the workplace, and the workers, it sets a tone of pessimism and doubt. And people know how to do pessimistic and doubt. And people become too afraid to do their job because they're afraid of making a mistake and getting fired, because management has very low tolerance for some things, and some things they shouldn't have a tolerance for. But this negative culture permeates through the entire organization and leads to unsavory events, encounters, and experience. Employees become demotivated and disengaged, creating an unsteady atmosphere that hinders productivity, innovation, ultimately impacting the company's success. And that is a very true statement there. The company's success is on how the management communicates with the workforce. You can have the smartest management, but if they have no people skills to communicate with the worker, zilch is going to happen. And when somebody walks out there with a three-piece suit on and their nose in the air and "Look at me, I'm management," that perception and hierarchy is a disconnect. As management continuously walks around in suit and ties, it creates a perception of hierarchy, disconnect between the management and the workforce. It was fun to watch when I got older and understood, watching these guys come out there with their three-piece suit, their nose in the air because their feet stink. And then they didn't know they was being laughed at. You can do it so easily. Management thinks they're big and tough and all this. The worker's just there till something else comes along. And if you want production, you put out good communication. And just because you got a three-piece suit on doesn't mean jack crap. You got a three-piece suit and enough money to buy it, but can you physically go do what that hourly worker was doing? Management is its own worst enemy. They come out of college with a paperweight degree, and then they think they got it all knowed up. But once you get out there and start getting around moving machinery and production, you're going to find out there's a lot of intricate things going on that management or the young people have no idea is going on. That's something this country has let done, and the unions are really bad about this. They let the experience retire without cultivating that wisdom to put into today. When management started going with young management, and they come out of college or out of the apprenticeship, put them right into management, the union went downhill, because there's a lot of things in wisdom that look slow, but in the end, they speed up the whole operation. Nothing's more fun than watching a young kid. Well, I shouldn't say fun. There's nothing more apprehensive than a young kid being a general foreman or a foreman right out of the apprenticeship. They got it all knowed up. but they have zero understanding. And that's the thing about management. It has a lot of knowing, but very little understanding of what's going on in the world. And people walking around with suits can create a perception of hierarchy, disconnect between the management and the workforce, and it just ruins the atmosphere on the job. It takes the fun out. See, when I first got in the union or the oil field, we used to start work and we started having fun right away. It was just, you know, friendly banter, you want to call it. But as we got older and we matured, the young people took the banter out, and it become rigid and just frigid and rigid from top down structure. Made the employees of the union electricians more disconnected than they ever were. Management creates the camaraderie on the job by how they interact with the workers. And if they let the workers have a little bit of fun, I mean, not obstinate, but, have friendly banners, but don't let them congregate, the job flows better. Fun and laughter make a job flow, but that's in all life. Fun and laughter make a job flow. I've seen poor quality management ruin good jobs. And once you start having, and what's the workers, what the management don't realize is the workers are like are an information highway to each other. If there's a job out there and it's running good, that'll go out and people will show up. You get a job where management's screwed up, the ones that are on the job will leave and no new people will come in, because the workers have a pipeline of information just like you. And when you have an arrogant boss, the employees feel less connected and value. This really lowers the morale, and it causes the workforce just to want to find corners and hide in and have a bullshit session rather than do their job. And everybody says the workers stand around. If they're standing around, that's our management's problem. Because management isn't always the most forthright and the wisest in the world. Any company that's having trouble out there, look at your management. That's where your challenges begin. And the thing about a job is the wisdom to do the job is in the workers. It's the management's job to facilitate it. But sometimes management lacks the facilitating foresight to do the job. Especially now they hire them fresh out of college, straight out into the field. They lack the communicative wizardry to make the job go. And I'm going to say this, when I got in the union in 91, they could facilitate a job really well. But as we went on and they started bringing in more young foremen and more young people, and then people come in and want to be foreman first day, that made a job very unstable and unsavory. There were some of them were good now, don't get me wrong, but some of them just stalled the job out. And people just, when you make a workforce mad, they're gonna find ways to slow it down, and you won't even catch them. So it's up to management to communicate goodwill. But also management usually makes the biggest suckasses and ass kissers foreman, general foreman, and lead positions. As I'm awakened and aware, management's verbosity is smug. A smug language manager speaks about the workforce, then blaming the workforce for the company's challenges, and then shaming the individual workers. As this leads, as in the field, then people do anything they can to irritate management. Management creates its own challenges. And then they go out in the field, and the one will run up and kiss them on the cheek when they walk up and tell them, "Oh my God, you're doing a good job." That's who companies make foremen or lead positions. And in a lead position, usually when the company slides into chaos and challenges, the people they have in leadership and foremanship, or whatever you want to call it, they lack the ability to rise the company out of it. What I really want people to understand, everything a company thinks and knows about doing anything about their company is a limitation. Because everything in your job is present moment. And when you can open up to understand, management made all the choices to get the job to where it's at today. You can never blame the worker for the condition of the job. However, you can blame the workers responsible for facilitating it. But if you ain't put people in the leadership positions like foreman, general foreman, it's management's responsibility, because management may think they know, but they lack the understanding of the people. And what I really understand about it is you watch the foreman or the foreman, general foreman, you watch management when there's a bind and the job gets into some chaos, and watch how they handle that. That's going to show the workers, because they're watching management do their thing. And sometimes they win, sometimes they lose. But if the management is forthright with the workers and tells them, we need to get this done and this done and this done, will you help us? They'll help you. But if you come out and say, you guys screwed this up, you guys screwed that up, they're going to lay down on you. The workforce may not have that college degree, but that workforce has got the wisdom to do it. And something I've opened up to today is college educated degrees are paper-weighted knowledge. Degrees have no wisdom in them, and they have no understanding on how the job goes. And when management struts around with an indoctrinated egotism, showcasing high sneering smears of sabotage, showcases their lack of clear and respectful communication to the worker. The workers, they have the same thing going on as the management. Workers have 60,000 thoughts and 85,000 emotions, a home life and a personal life and everything going, just like management. And you come out there and you upset that flow, how many workers you have? Multiply that by 85,000 emotions, 60,000 thoughts. What do you have going on? I ain't saying all they want to be treated is with respect and talked to with respect. And the wisdom of any company is in the workforce. The knowledge is in the office. And that's where it usually gets screwed up from, is the knowledge in the office. And when you come out there with disrespect and blame and a blame shame game going on, that misunderstanding is going to diminish the trust and lower the morale in the employees and create a negative atmosphere that reduces productivity, bitching and belly aching, bitching and moaning. It really takes away from the job. And it really shuts down the innovation. What it really takes away is from the members, from the workforce, is wanting to do it for you. I've seen jobs, we got behind on a job in Everett. It just was the way material come in and stuff. They had a guy running that job. And when he asked us to stand up, we stood up and got the job done on time. The worker will work with management, but management got to show respect. Not coddle them, not kiss them on the cheek, but show them respect. And usually the poorer the lower class, the management, the lower class, the lack they understand how to communicate with the workers. Them guys, you got a lot of people been on them jobs 25, 30, 15, 20 years. They understand a lot more than people will ever want to give them credit for. But really, egotistical arrogance and know-it-all ignorance and a snobby management that lowers profit and creates an ineffective outcome. One thing I discovered in management is they have they lack ineffective leadership and have a poverty-conscious decision-making modus operandi. When management lacks effective leadership and really poor decision-making skills, it often results in poor strategic choices, inadequate resources, and unclear communication. The workers, they pick up on this stuff right away. Within 10, just like anything else, you think you're college educated and you have everything figured out. But when you talk to a person that has been on the job or on jobs, you got 5 to 10 words and they'll have you figured out. Usually the worker has management figured out before management has the workforce figured out. Because when you communicate with them, you want to communicate with them with an outcome in mind, not like and lower everything in sight. An unclear communication is an inefficiency that creates challenges within the company, leading to decreased employee morale, reduced productivity, ultimately lowers the bottom line profits, and it creates a misalignment with the company's goals. Something I've really learned, we've educated ourselves beyond education. But education is all secondhand information. And all MBA and all business schools, that's a third world enslaving mindset they want to teach you. So as a company's goals are made through poverty consciousness, management's choices and decisions are disengaged and misaligned with the company's goals, it leads to inefficiencies, confusion, and wasted resources. And a lot of times companies make somebody in a lead position, they expect the hourly workers to take it over. And in management, 90% of their challenges is in poor leadership and poor lead positions or foreman, whatever you want to call them. Something else, the management likes people that are docile and you can say anything to them, but your dummied down and docile workers are the ones that are going to cause you the most trouble because they're not going to say anything. And then when times gets unsafe or unsavory and it comes time to talk about safety, they're not going to say a word. The ones that come forth and tell you exactly what is going on with a wise verbiage and an innovative verbiage, they're the ones that are going to show you a better way. I had a friend. She went down. What she did was she went into companies that were having challenges or having financial challenges. She never talked to the management. She talked to the workers on the floor. And usually by the time she come off the floor, management was getting relieved of duty. She always talked to the people doing the physical labor. If a company wants to understand what's happening, talk to the people that are doing the physical labor because they understand what is going on. They may not have the college degree, but they have an entrepreneur degree in what is going on there. And one thing about this is fostering equality and inclusion and including the workforce and sitting down, just talking about hunting or fishing sometime or something different, or find out what their hobby is. Talk to them about that. Make them understand they are welcome. That way, the workforce feels equal to management and creates an inclusive, supporting environment. And most of the time, when a company's having trouble, the workers are reserved and backed away from the management and their goals, and all they're there to is to be there on Friday when the paychecks show up. And when you have inclusive, supportive environment, the equality fosters mutual respect and open communication, leading to higher employee morale. When people feel valued and heard, and motivated and engaged, it results in increased productivity, innovation, and higher profits. Something I understand is when management is downgrading the workforce, well, you may think you're downgrading them, but they've already downgraded you more. So it's how you communicate with your people. Communicate with an open-ended skill lingo, and the lingo will lead you to a better profit. The way you talk to your people, good, bad, or indifferent, is the outcomes you're going to experience on your job and in your company. I am Robert A. Wilson, and I want to thank you, and may your evening be as blessed as you are a blessing to me in the world.